We'll talk about that.
It's quite poor. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Ian, and in this video this is a continuation of how to set up a Stratocaster guitar. Now, in the last video we looked at having a good look over the guitar and actually how to hardtail a Stratocaster. I've now removed the strings from the guitar, and what we're going to do is we're going to actually clean the fretboard. I don't have to do the electrics on this guitar, but I've actually already filmed a previous guitar servicing the electrics, and we're going to have a look at that too, and then we'll get on to things like restringing and start doing the truss rod and setting the whole guitar up. So the first thing we need to do is we need to clean the fretboard and the guitar, and we do that with Dunlop 65, and this is guitar polish and cleaner, and I'll put a link to where you can get this in the description down below. There are other products on the market. They're all pretty much, it's a general guitar cleaner, so we can use this. We will clean some of the muck off the fretboard, but we're going to treat the fretboard with lemon oil, but we'll go around the electrics and make sure that everything is all nice and clean. So what we need first of all is we need a nice soft cloth, and whenever my socks get holy, I tend to turn them into rags, so I use a trusty sock to be able to do this sort of work. And you don't need much of this guitar polish and cleaner. A couple of squirts, and then we'll go around the body, clean all the bits, make sure we're getting all of here. Now, when you've got lots of grime and dirt on the fretboard, and I'm actually going to wipe over the fretboard with a little bit of warm water, you can use like a plastic credit card to try and get excessive dirt off. So I've now put a little bit of damp warm water on the sock. It's not soaking, it's just damp, and I'm just going to rub over the frets to get all the grime out. I don't know if you can see this, but most of the dirt is around the fret edge, so we try and make sure that we can get in and clean all of those bits. And then with a completely dry, clean cloth, I'm just going to get rid of any excess moisture off the fretboard. Now, this fretboard is I think rosewood, but it could be ebony. Now we're going to use lemon oil to protect and treat the fretboard. Now that's fine for these sort of dark hardwoods, but you should never use it on a light maple fretboard. Only rosewood or woods of that type, really. Lemon oil is this sort of stuff, and again, you don't need very much of this. As it says on the instructions, a little dab goes a long way. And what we do is, it's got a little dabber, and we're going to I tend to put a dab on each fret all the way down. Some people may say that's excessive, but it's always worked for me, and I won't need any more than that. Put the top back on there, and then just gently rub it into the fretboard. Now that'll protect the wood, stop it splitting, and just it'll make it look a little bit nicer as well. the last thing I want to do is I want to just clean the saddle and try and, because the strings are off, it gives us an opportunity to try and get whatever muck we've got in there out with a small brush. There we are, that's the fretboard done. So the electrics on this guitar don't need any work, because I've checked them out, I've opened it, but on another guitar I've actually already done and cleaned and serviced the electrics, and I have videoed that. So it's still a Stratocaster style guitar, it's not an original Fender, but you'll get the idea of how I can clean the pots and the switches, and we'll have a look at that video now. So here is the guitar. We've done a little bit of prep work. We've cut the guitar strings off because they were black, and we've treated the fretboard with lemon oil. When I tested the guitar, bit of a problem with the electrics, so the next job we're going to do is we're going to have a look and try and service the electrics. When we take this plate off, there are a series of screws. We need to loosen the screws that are on the outside, not the ones that are near the pickups or near the switch. Those are just holding them to the plate. So it's these outside screws are the ones that we need to loosen so we can lift this plate up. There we go, there's usually a couple of ways that it will go. So what we're going to do here is we're going to clean these pots, because they were quite stiff when the guitar first came in, and we're going to also try and clean in here. Now the problem with this is that it's fairly sealed. What we need to be able to do is to get some switch cleaner in between here, and we're going to do that first. So I've got my mask to protect my eyes. We're going to be using Servicol IPA 170. Got a pair of gloves on. Now this is an isopropyl alcohol, and what I've tended to find that it's extremely flammable and it can cause an irritation. And the reason for wearing these, although I wear glasses, is that in my experience, when you're spraying this stuff, it can sort of go everywhere, and certainly it will dry up the skin if nothing else. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some protection underneath that we're working on so that it will protect the guitar. Because what is going to happen is that the isopropyl alcohol, the minute I try and spray it in here and round it, it will cover everywhere else. So here goes. And what I'm doing is I'm moving the switch backwards and forwards to try and get the alcohol inside there. I'm also going to try and, not that I think it'll have much effect, but to try and clean in some of the bits round there. So when we come to do, try and get it so that I can turn it round really. There we go. So when I come to do the switches, I need to be able to hold the switch while I'm spraying it, and I'm spraying it inside giving it a good soaking, and then moving it liberally backwards and forwards to make sure that we get all the dust and rubbish out of there, and it basically gives a lubrication to the actual potentiometer. So we're going to do that on all three. Get it in there. Didn't seem to get as much as I thought it might. It's better. It's always a good idea to use the full length of the potentiometer to make sure that everything's working fine. And the same with this last one. So the reason we've put it back like that is we're going to test it. We're going to plug it in and test it. Now we've got no strings on it, but actually we're going to use the pickups to be able to test to see whether we've still got a crackle on the pots and the switch. But we're going to leave it for about an hour so that all of the isopropyl alcohol will evaporate, and then we'll come back to it in a little while later. Right, so what we've done is we've connected the guitar to an amplifier, turn the amplifier up, and if we touch the pickup points with a metal screwdriver, we'll get a connection. So we can hear there two things. One is to check that all the pickups are working correctly. So in this configuration, because it's a 5-way switch, that should be working, that should be off, that should be off. There we go. Next one. Yeah, that one off. This one should just be the middle, which it is. These two, that one off, and last but not least, off, off, on. And the volume controls, we should be hearing a crackle. There's this. So I'm quite happy with the electrics there. So in the next video we'll have a look at restringing the guitar and start to look at the tremolo system. So thanks so much for watching. If you like what I do, hit the subscribe button and ding that little bell if you want to be notified when I post new videos, and a thumbs up is always much appreciated. So see you in the next video. Thanks so much. Bye bye.